At the beginning of my senior year of high school, my English teacher tells the class that we're going to set aside one day a week to ignore our course curriculum and just work on an individual project of our own creation and design. So some kids are like researching politics, some want to make the world a better place. I decide that I'm going to spend September to June learning to be an adult. And I'm going to embark on that cultural journey by making a list of adult tasks and completing them one by one and seeing if I feel more mature after. So essentials on my list included things like cooking a meal, reading the newspaper, listening to NPR. And it all sounded so simple, and it seemed like it would be so useful. I was going to go to college in August. I was like, growing up seems really hard. Let's expedite this process, get it out of the way. But senioritis hits, and I don't do a single thing all year, which would have been fine, but the end of the year meant that I had to present my final project to my class, and I had no proof of my personal growth at all. So I say, okay, I have to do something big. I'm gonna throw a dinner party. And I ask my parents, okay, you know I'm doing this project. I've really put it off for a while. Do you mind if I use the first floor of our house to throw a dinner party? And they say yes. And they're gonna eat takeout upstairs during the meal like adults do. But I don't know that yet. So I text all of my friends and I say, all right, guys, I'm on an academic deadline to grow up, and we're coming on the last week and a half. It's May. So I'm gonna cook a 3-course meal, come over. It's gonna be the cultural event of the school year. Please dress business casual. And after an afternoon of cooking, all of my friends file in their button-up shirts and their dresses and their skirts looking like the young professionals I dreamed of having at my table. And the dinner went pretty smoothly, but I was a stressed host. I got really nervous when Vishal looked like he really didn't like the arugula salad that I made, that I slaved over, putting the leaves in the bowl. I nearly burned my garlic. A friend asked if I wanted help plating when I was in the weeds, and I said yes, but in my head I was like, you really don't understand the fucking point that I'm supposed to take on too much and still get it all done. At one point, my senior prom date, who was very smart, asked if we were only allowed to talk about world affairs and cinema and things like that during the meal. And I was like, in my head, I was like, I haven't read the New York Times these past 9 months like I said I would. We can't do that. And I was like, no, let's not pretend. We're still in high school after all. Haha, who's enjoying things? After everyone left, I experienced a type of joy that I think you really have to grow up to understand. Having leftovers in the fridge and getting to be alone after hours of not having that. So my piece de resistance was finished, but then I needed a rest of a year of proof, and thus began my frantic afternoon of putting together LucyTriesAdulting.tumblr.com, featuring posts like, why we should all know the different cuts of beef on a cow, and how listening to Ira Glass bridged the cultural and generational divide between my parents and I. I remember sitting frantically at my computer keyboard thinking of friends that had told me they'd gone through hard times and had to grow up quickly. And I was going to present to my class in like a day and a half. I was like, I know exactly what they mean now. I ended up getting a 90 on my project. Thank you, big win. And now, 4 years later, I'm about to graduate college. And I kind of wish that younger Lucy had given her tasks a little bit more thought. I wish I knew how to budget better. I wish I knew how to take care of myself better. But I also think back to one of the things that younger Lucy said during her presentation and speech to the class after everything was over. She cited the definition of adult, which was a person who was fully grown and developed. And she, bullshitting, said, you know, if an adult is a person who's fully grown and developed, like, I never want to be an adult. I want to keep learning. There's so much growth to be had. I just need to keep going. And maybe I just don't have my shit together right now. Probably. But I still see a little bit of truth in that. And honestly, when I think back on it, younger Lucy actually did one of the most adult things she could have done when she was a senior in high school. She was lying about feeling like a grown-up for as long as she could without getting caught. Thank you.